What is up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. Let me know how you guys are doing in the chat. Drop a 1 if you can clearly see me and hear me. I'm going to read through the schedule really quick, and then we'll go ahead and get her started. We're not going to start with the press briefing. We got 20 minutes until she's supposed to be on stage, and you know she's not going to be on stage on time. So we're going to start without her, but we do have the press briefing today. It's weird, we didn't have no press briefing. I think it was last week or the week before, and now it's every day we got a press briefing. Must have had to get around all that Trump stuff going on. They didn't want to talk about that. So we're going to be starting off with this first video titled, "There's Really Reason for Concern with McConnell." Apparently he froze up yesterday. Another death stare. I don't know if he's having a stroke or what's going on. We need term limits. I know that. Then we have a video titled, "Burger King Faces False Advertisement Lawsuit." It's another one of those things where it's always been this way and that's just the way things are, and that's kind of the argument they're making for false advertisement. It's always been that way, so we'll just leave it that way. Most of the things that are wrong with the country right now is because things have always been done that way and nobody wants to change it. Then we have a video titled, "Tesla Autopilot Under Scrutiny After Elon Mode is Discovered," talking about the autonomous driving, or whatever it's called, self-driving. There's been some issues with it. Now people have found a way around the safety stuff that I don't even know. I've never been in a self-driving car, but apparently there's a time limit, and once the time limit passes, you need to grab the steering wheel again. And people have found a way around that so they can go farther without having to have hands on the steering wheel. I don't think I'd be able to do that. It's supposed to be like a luxury thing, but I don't know. It doesn't feel luxurious. It would give me anxiety. I would die of a heart attack. Anyways, we're going to read through the chats, make sure everything's running smoothly, and then we'll go ahead and get her started. Like I said, the press briefing is supposed to start at 2:30, which is in 17 minutes. I got it pulled up on the screen. So when she decides to come out staggering on stage, smelling like fart dust, we'll be on it. We will be on it. What's up, Annette? What's up, Donna Sparks? What's up, everyone over on the website? Happy freedom, you hooligans. Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, everyone on Rumble? We had a little bit of a late start on Rumble. For some reason it wasn't connecting, so I had to mess with it. Holy moly. So it's already started. I don't know how many of you guys follow me on Twitter, but Rumble posted that they updated the chat over here on the Rumble platform. I'm going to try it right now. Okay, so it still does not have the predictive the predictive text for the username like on YouTube. Well, on YouTube if you're on a computer, or like Twitch and stuff like that, where you hit the @ symbol, you start typing the username and it'll predict who you're trying to tag. It still doesn't do that, but when you tag people, apparently it all lights up now. And I seen that on Twitter earlier. I shared it, and Snooks just tagged me on it, and I'm all lit up all green, and that's pretty cool. Appreciate you being here, Snooks. What's up, Serum? What's up, Seppa? What's up, MU? What's up, Jeb? What's up, Pumpkin? What's up, Screaming Eagle? What's up, Kevin? What's up, Breezy? What's up, Ghostly? What's up, Madline? Happy freedom, you hooligans. What's up, Lifelike? Look at all the hooligans over here. What's up, Astral Hammer? What's up, Nefties? Appreciate you guys all being here. Make sure you hit that like button. Get us on the front page of Rumble, where we belong. Astral Hammer. I wish Kick started without the volume on. They'll have to update that. What's up, everyone over on Kick? What's up to Rosa? Happy freedom. He used to be called Cruise Control. Yeah. And in that video about the Tesla, they're like, yeah, the autopilot stuff, that's the future. That's the future. No, thank you. No, thank you. I do not want to be drove by the car. My phone doesn't work right half the time. I don't want to be in the car, need to use the car, and then the car doesn't work right. Like, no, I don't. I have technological issues, and I just don't think so. I don't think it would work out. I need to drive my own car. What's up, everyone over on Twitch? What's up, Matt? What's up, Ms. Chris? Happy freedom. Happy freedom, you hooligans. What day is it? Is it Thursday or is it Friday? It's Thursday. I thought it was Freedom Friday for a second there. Just double checking. Just double checking. What's up, everyone over on YouTube? On GoofTube? What's up, Sly Dog? What's up, Toy Mafia? What's up, Matthew? Hold on, I gotta make this chat bigger. I can't see you guys' names. Oh, it's too big. That's what she said. All right. Come on, man. Come on now. Come on. What's up, Anthony? What's up, Gregory? What's up, Chime? What's up, Leonardo? What's up, Robert? Happy Freedom. What's up, Cooper? Cooper, you made it over to the main channel. What's up, Shanti? What's up, Damon Walker? What's up, MT Coiner? What's up, Blue Crow? Seeing all the ones. You guys must be able to see me and hear me clearly. Appreciate all of you guys being here. What's up, Guy Dub? What's up, 24/7? What's up, Warcry? Old Man Walter's live right now. I didn't know. I wasn't paying any attention to him. What's up, Jason? Appreciate all of you guys being here. What's up, Marky Mark? Alright, we're going to start with this first video titled There's Really Reason for Concern. Talking about Mitch McConnell freezing up with the death stare. He's got that 1,000-mile stare, or whatever they call it. What's up, Hair Juicer? What's up, Matt? Happy Freedom. So let's get this started. First, I want to remind you guys, go get a free The Orange Eagle t-shirt that we put together. We also got the Screaming Goat t-shirt. Screaming Eagle was sitting there on his toes waiting for me to screw that up. Go get you a Screaming Goat t-shirt. You can find the link in the description, but I'll also drop it in the chat while you guys are watching this first video here. Once again, there's really reason for concern with McConnell. Let's get her started.
Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips is in the news this morning. He was tweeting about term limits yesterday, writing, quote, "For goodness sake, what are the family, friends, and staff of Senators Dianne Feinstein and Mitch McConnell doing? A tremendous disservice. It's time for term limits for Congress and the Supreme Court and some basic human decency."
Joining us for reaction is internist at Custom Care Medical, Dr. Frank Contessessa. Dr. Frank, thanks for joining us. Here's Senator Mitch McConnell yesterday at an event in Kentucky.
What are your thoughts on running for re-election in 2026?
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026?
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Benny.
That's his Secret Service representation.
Yeah.
Not there.
Dr. Frank, it's hard to watch that. You know, this is the second time we've seen something like this happen. I know you haven't treated him, but what do you think's going on here with him?
Well, good morning, Robin Allison, and I can only go by observing the video as we're all doing. And again, this is the second time. So what I see is a couple of things. I know I've read some of the coverage, and his staff was saying that, oh, well, he felt lightheaded. I don't really see that. You know, typically with lightheadedness, people, their blood pressure can drop and you start to wobble. They can lose their balance. They have to sit down or they might even fall. I don't see that here. He looks fairly steady on his feet. Makes me think of something more like a petit mal seizure, which, you know, people think of seizures. They think of the big grand mal seizures that you kind of see where people shake violently. This is a petit mal seizure, or potentially, where you just kind of zone out for a moment and then you kind of slowly come back to it. It could be something like a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, also known as a mini stroke. But with that, you often see, you know, transient or temporary deficits. They might slur their speech. You might see a drooping of the face, the muscles of the face. So it's tough to know exactly what's going on, but clearly there's something going on because this is the second time. We don't know if this has happened off camera. So there's really reason for concern here.
That's a good point. We have no idea if something like this has happened behind closed doors, but this is the second time it's happened publicly in 2 months. I can just say, you know, we've been covering Mitch McConnell for a long time. He doesn't look good physically, and he's lost a lot of weight. And it's just, it's sad for the people of Kentucky, but it's also, you know, this is a political comment, but, you know, if he's unable to do his job effectively, that's a disservice to all of us. What else do you think could be going on with him?
Well, again, it's tough to say. I don't know his medical background, but when something is episodic like this, it really requires a full workup. I would hope after the first episode that he saw a neurologist, maybe a cardiologist, had a brain scan, either a CT or an MRI, and we should be able to see those results. You know, he's the minority leader of the Senate. He's making decisions or helping make decisions for all of us. We have similar restrictions on airline pilots because we put our lives in their hands.
Right.
Doctors, all kinds of workers have responsibility for dealing with the lives of others. And you'd have to take medical exams. Pilots have to go through a rigorous FAA screening. So I think that's fair. These people are in charge of making decisions for us. We should have some sort of a competency test.
Dr. Frank, we want to ask you about two other politicians. I'll start with President Biden. As a physician, when you observe him, as you've observed him over the last 2 years, what do you see?
Well, as we observe him over the last, 40 years, if you look at video of him just from even a few years ago, we can all see a decline. We see it just from observation. Certainly, there appears to be some form of dementia happening. He goes into episodes of a blank stare. You can see it in his gait. You can see it in his eyes. He's often got a sort of a squinty expression. These are classic signs. None of them are definitive to make a diagnosis. But if you put them all together, I think we can infer, and we all see, that there's some sort of a decline, some form of dementia.
Yeah, we also have Dianne Feinstein, who's 90 years old as well. So we're talking about three politicians, who are in power that it comes into question. And we always say it's not about age. It's about your cognitive ability and what's really going on and how you can do your job. Dr. Frank Hunter.
I saw a meme yesterday. It showed a picture of Mick Jagger and Mitch McConnell side by side. They're only a year apart. And the stark difference between Mick Jagger, still strutting around the stage at 80 years old.
Great point.
Versus Mitch McConnell. And, it's a clear difference. It's not about age. It's about competency.
Right.
Still
Look at Trump and Biden. Trump's only a couple years younger than Biden.
Yeah,
Very different.
And Mick Jagger still performing. Doesn't forget his lyrics or anything like that. He's 80 years old, same age as the president. Great point. Dr. Frank, we'll do it again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
All right.
Well, we need term limits. If that's not obvious. I keep thinking we're going to watch these people kick the bucket before we get to term limits. Feinstein, McConnell, others, other people, before we get term limits or we see these people get any kind of limitations so they're just not lifers out here doing insider trading in the stock market and all of that stuff. I think we're going to end up watching them pass from old age. I don't know. And then I also wonder, even if we did get term limits, would they wait for it to be grandfathered in? Would everybody that's already standing just have their lifelong term, and then all the new people that come in, then they'll have the limitations? I keep wondering about that. But how many of these people are we going to watch fall apart on TV? And then I like that they brought up, that's only what we're seeing on TV. Who knows what it's like off camera? And then I think about Feinstein and McConnell and Old Man Walter and all these people shuffling around the White House and all of that stuff. It probably smells terrible there. Like, it's an overglorified old folks home, and it shouldn't be that way. At least that's what I think. Astral Hammer, no, that's not nice. Well, I never said I was nice. I try to be honest, and a lot of times, the truth's not nice. So I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen, though. I think before we get any kind of term limits or anything like that, we're going to watch these people just, let time catch up to them. It's unfortunate. I think we're going to end up going through a big change. Everybody that's running the country is so old, and they're so used to the way that things have always been. And I think the more little changes that happen along the way, eventually there's going to be a point where the floor drops out, and we're going to have a big change that happens. I believe it will be in the future. I don't know how close to now, though. Serum, don't you talk about my noodle when I'm gone. I mean, well, I'll probably go for you do, Serum. Maybe, I don't know. When they hit me with the heart attack gun, you guys make sure you say nice things about me. Because everybody else won't be. They won't be. We're going to read through the chat really quick before we move forward. I see that they kicked over the live at the White House, even though KJP isn't supposed to be on stage for another 6 minutes. So while I'm reading through the chat, I'm going to monitor that. If she's late, we'll move on to the next video, but I'm multitasking here. Let's see. And the turtle needs to retire. Yeah. I feel like they don't even know what it would be like without it. They've been doing it so long, making that money, so used to the routine, that they're fighting so hard to hold on to it. Even though they should definitely retire, all flags are up, it is time to retire. They're like, but they won't make it without me. I gotta be here. I need to be a part of this. That drive and that hunger to keep doing what they've always done, I think, is what's keeping them holding on. And then who knows how corrupt their brain is. Like we talk about every day, they have anything and everything they want, so then their brain gets corrupted on what's right and what's wrong because they have so much access to everything. Donna Sparks, what I don't understand is why spouses are allowing this, because they benefit from it. That's what I think of, what's his name? In Pennsylvania. I think it's Pennsylvania. Oh my God. He looks like Uncle Fester. That guy. You know, he went to the hospital 2 weeks or 2 months, I don't know, forever. And then his family went to Canada. His family like left the country and went on vacation or whatever while he was locked in the upstairs of the hospital because he was a threat to himself and all of that stuff. And people were asking that, where's his family? Why are they letting him do this? Why don't they pull him down and have him take care of himself? Nope, that's how they make money. They make money off of them. It's almost like the sacrificial lamb. Like, not that they're like Jesus, but you know, that's what it's like. The family is living off this one person being a politician, so it doesn't matter to them. They're like, hey buddy, you're getting up and you're going to work. We don't care if you're missing both your legs, half your brains laying on the floor, you got the plague. We don't care. Just go to work so we can continue being millionaires and living the lifestyle that we want to live. To hell with your health. And if you kick the bucket, then we got life insurance and all this other stuff. It's just Mr. Moneybags, and that's the way it goes. That's why, yeah, Fetterman, thank you, Annette. That's what I think it is. They're just leeching off of him, and just like any other politician. So it doesn't matter to them, because in reality, all publicity is good publicity. If you got people talking about you, you're doing all right. So I don't know. That's what I think it is. Just money hungry people. Yeah, Matt, it's true. I really want transparency. I would like to be able to look at a board somewhere and see who voted and who voted for what. I want to be able to count the votes myself. I want total transparency. Donna Sparks, guess I better check out the life insurance policy. Yeah, I'm sure McConnell, Old Man Walter, all those people, I'm sure they're all set up for it. Everybody over on Rumble yelling Fetterman at me. I've seen images of the new Fetterman, and he doesn't look like the old Fetterman. And I think what it was is they were going to pull him out of the hospital and put the new Fetterman, clone Fetterman, out there, but everybody was expecting it. So then they had a couple more appearances in the hoodie and the sports shorts while everybody else is wearing suits and stuff. And then the last time I seen an image of Fetterman, he was in a suit and he has like a mustache. He looks like the warden of a prison in Kentucky. I don't know, he looks weird, but it doesn't look like Fetterman. And I'm waiting to hear him speak, because I just seen an image. I didn't see the actual video that the screenshot was taken from. But I think from here on out, it's not going to be the same old Uncle Fetterman that we're used to. D-Cat, he's useless and his wife is control of his seat. Yeah. Yep, their family members don't care about them. But if you look at like House of Cards and stuff, like that TV show, it used to be around, I don't know if it's still around. That's how I imagine all the politicians' families are, though. They're not really in relationships, they're more like in agreements. They're like personal contracts that create a family from the outside, but on the inside it's like business. It's just business going on. It's gross. That's what it is, it's gross. It makes me feel gross to think of that. Jeb, yeah. And I can't even talk about that because of the YouTube community guidelines. They made it so we could talk about irregularities that happened in 2020, or we can kind of sort of talk about it. But we can't talk about age, we can't talk about mental capacity and all kinds of stuff like that. We're not allowed to talk about that in the same sense as qualifications for top leader of the country. Hopefully I dance through the communist guidelines over on YouTube and I'm not going to get hurt for saying that. YouTube's going to show up with a bat ready to break my ankles. Yeah, I heard you talking about the truth out there, Jeff Mack. You know why we're here. Hillary's in the back in a cloak, like the Sith from Star Wars. Got the heart attack gun ready to go. Let's read through the chat really quick before we move forward. Yeah, Jeb, there definitely needs to be a standard. Not just a length of time that you're going to serve, but there needs to be like qualifications of some sort. MU, too many ignorant and selfish people keep them in office. It's true. It's because they're all there for their own reasons, and none of the reasons are for serving the country. DeRosa, the DC old folks home. It is. Fester neck. DeRosa, you crack me up. You crack me up. Dejon Fetterman doesn't cut the mustard. I don't know. I don't know why people wanted him to be running things. Thank you so much, Mr. Beansy Beans, for the bits. I really appreciate you, Mr. Beansy Beans. Thank you. I'll work on getting a shirt size. I don't really have control over that stuff, but I can look into it and see if they have those shirts available, or if they can, or maybe they're out of stock. I'll try and find some answers for you, Mr. Beansy Beans. What's up, Gabhan? Happy Freedom. Appreciate you being here. Christine, cognitive testing is essential. Yes. I agree. We need that. We need it. Marky Mark. I'd be doing better if I was AI. I don't think AI could fake me. I don't think so. I feel like I got multiple personality disorders sometimes. It's like sometimes we have really great lives. Sometimes the live is bumpy. Sometimes they're funny. Sometimes they're serious. Sometimes we're screaming at people in the chat. AI, they'd need a couple AIs to be one of me. And you'd be able to tell. You gotta pay attention. Look at the earlobes. You gotta check the tattoos. They're gonna spell my name wrong. I have my tattoos misspelled. The government's not foolproof. It's ran by old people. Warcry, we need you to lead a new insurrection. No. I'm not leading no insurrection. We're observing. We observe and analyze. We don't get involved in the nonsense. What's up, Tim? Happy Freedom. We don't get involved. We just observe and analyze. Donna Sparks, I'll leave my life insurance policy to whatever animals I have left. You crack me up. I don't know if I'll ever get life insurance. It depends how much it costs and stuff. I can't afford car insurance hardly. Life insurance. I've never thought about that. Just like retirement. I assume I'll never be able to retire. There's not going to be any Social Security or anything by the time I'm 62. And by the time I'm 62, they will have made the age 84 or something like that. I won't be able to retire even if there was any Social Security left. My retirement is to try and figure out how to make $1 million doll hairs so I can take care, so Klaus will be taken care of when I'm gone. Somebody will feed him the treats and he won't have to eat my face. What's up, Get Some J? Happy Freedom. I got death insurance. It was cheaper. Yeah. What's up, Skybear? Happy Freedom. What is going on here? Screaming Eagle? No, I have not seen it, but I'm going to go watch it after the live. Kevin, he already leads a hooligan infestation. It's not an infestation. It's a network silently observing and analyzing. No, not silently. Not even kind of sort of silently. It's like all capital letters. Half the comments are all caps. Screaming in the chat. Hair juicer, a lot of people saying that... Who is this? Hold on, let me zoom in on the chat so I can read what this is. Mouthy Buddha? Is that what that is? Was killed and replaced by AI. Everything about the content has changed. I'll look into this Because I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I'll have to research that. Oh, they're on Reddit and everything. Alright, I will check that out after the live. Something suspicious. Oh, I was going to show you guys another video about Maui. The people who didn't lose their house in Maui are being evicted now. Your house didn't burn down? Here's your eviction notice. Should just let it burn down. I'll have a video for that tomorrow. I planned on doing it today, but then I got sidetracked and stuff. So I'll find a video for that tomorrow. Just more strange stuff happening out there. Kevin, what do you call a group of hooligans then? A pride. A pride of hooligans. We discussed that a couple months ago. We are a pride of hooligans, like a pride of lions. Thank you so much, Mr. Beansy Beans, for gifting a sub over on Twitch. You're awesome, Mr. Beansy Beans. Thank you. Well, I was trying to hold out for KJP to step on stage, but she's late. 7 minutes late. 6 minutes late. Stove clock is fast because I'm late to everything. So I think we're going to move forward to this next video. KJP can wait for us. It's titled Burger King Faces False Advertisement Lawsuit. I feel like this video is interesting because they kind of shrug it off like, well, it's always been this way, so we'll just continue to leave things this way. It's like, I don't know, I don't think that's the way we should be living our lives, but that's just my 2 cents. Don't forget to check all the links and stuff in the description if you would like to support the live. Grab a Happy Freedom shirt like I got on right now. Check out the wish list, go join Gilded, go do everything. Just check the links in the description. Let's get this started.
Get to burgers now, because we've been teasing this all morning. A new lawsuit arguing Burger King's famous Whopper isn't as whopping as it should be. A judge rejected the fast food giant's attempts to dismiss a false advertising case. The people suing claim that Burger King enlarges its Whopper burger in advertisements and on your menu boards to appear twice as big and serves a patty that is 35% smaller than the ones that were promised that we see in photos. We want to welcome in attorney Ian Samuel right now to help us break down this big food fight. Ian, thanks for being with us.
Hey, my pleasure. I'm very hungry, so this will be a good discussion.
Well, if only you were here, because we have a smorgasbord of Whoppers because we're dedicated journalists. So we brought them to set. You know, to look at the photos compared to what we actually see here, what do we think? It does look kind of sad, but do these claimants actually have a case? What say you?
You know, I think what's interesting is I was not aware that there was anybody left in the entire world who did not basically understand that food on advertisements often looks somewhat better than it's going to look when it is delivered to you in real life. And advertisement has to be sort of evaluated against the background of like normal social understandings. So I do think that it is quite charming that the lawyers for the plaintiffs said that, look, these guys aren't looking for money. They're trying to create change in the world. That is a quote from the lawyers for the plaintiffs. They're trying to create change in the world. And I think that's very noble of them, and I appreciate their efforts.
And I see your point that everybody knows that the meal that you usually get is not the meal that is marketed to you. But should it look that different, what you get versus what you see?
I mean, I suppose not ideally, right? But when we're talking about, you know, obviously fast food restaurants and fast food sandwiches versus advertisements that are going to present something, you know, in its very best light, you could say this really for all products. You know, for example, you know, my car has some dings and scratches on it that it has acquired over the years. You know, the photos that I take on my iPhone are usually not of people who are, you know, quite as attractive and well posed as the models that Apple uses in its iPhone advertisements. No offense to my family. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. These advertising conventions, I sort of like advertising that sort of shows me an idealized life that I might not live, but I can at least have some of the products in that idealized life, even if I will not look as good as the models who are eating the sandwiches.
Yeah, it is just interesting. I think all of us agree that what we get is different. Most of us just don't feel litigious about it, though. My last question to you, what is Burger King going to have to prove or show in order to win? And does an ad or a menu board, does that serve as some sort of contract between the restaurant and the customer?
Well, it's not exactly a contract, but I do find it ironic that essentially the claim of this lawsuit is, hey, where's the beef? And what Burger King is going to have to demonstrate essentially is that there is no way that these people were actually misled. And I'm sure that they will write in their briefs that, their sandwiches are great and that they are large. And it's just that they're, maybe not quite as vivid as they are on your, giant TV at home or on these billboards. But I don't think realistically this is going to do very much to alter their advertising practices. When I described this lawsuit to my girlfriend yesterday, she said, well, haven't people basically been saying that for like years
Forever.
about all fast food products?
Yes.
Which the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, and we know
That doesn't make it okay, though.
the only ones facing this kind of beef when it comes to lawsuits. We know Taco Bell was sued last month. I think McDonald's, Wendy's also sued last year for the size of their cheeseburgers. So, hey, I'll save these for you, Ian. Just hop by
Thanks,
the
I'll
studio.
be over soon.
Yeah, come by soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
My goodness. Oh, it's always been that way. We'll just keep doing it that way because it's always been that way. I do not agree with that stuff. That right there is how corruption happens. It's always been that way. And we'll just keep doing it because, that's the way things have always been done. That has corruption written all over it. I don't know. It's kind of a silly thing, but I don't like the way they handle it. Just saying, it's just always been that way. I don't think so. But they definitely wouldn't be selling as many cheeseburgers if they just, opened a wrapper in front of you like, hey, we just made this out back. This smashed sandwich here. It's got lettuce on it that ain't supposed to be from on this sandwich. Yeah, that's extra, and we didn't charge you extra for it. I don't think they'd sell as many burgers. I can't even eat Burger King because of whatever seasoning, the smoky stuff that they put on all their food wrecks me. Even like eating their fries just wrecks me. Throwing up blood, heavy flow. It's no good. It's no good. I can't do it. It's not their fault. Something's wrong with my stomach, but can't eat Burger King. And I know McDonald's and all that's gone through it. And then while I was screening that video to make sure I was able to show it on YouTube because of their communist guidelines, everyone should be watching on Rumble and jeffmaclive.com anyways, I was thinking, why do we even call it fast food anymore? We used to think of fast food as being like, well, let's get a cheap meal. We'll run through, drive through real quick, spend $2-3, and then we'll go at the house and cook food later on, with actual food. And that's how it used to be. Now it's not really like that. Now people consume McDonald's like that's a meal. And that's probably because it costs $35 to feed one person at McDonald's now. It's more of a restaurant than just fast food at this point. Most fast food is not cheap, easily accessible food. Most fast food at this point, it costs as much as going to a restaurant or even going to a grocery store. We just think that we call it fast food and we think cheap, easy, fun, let's go do that. But it's not really fast food anymore because of all the little changes that have been made over the years. It's like an old phrase. We need to call it something else now because fast food ain't what it used to be. Elder Zoomer is still fast most of the time. I mean, it is, but I don't think it's any faster than going to a restaurant. I think if you go into a restaurant, you order a breakfast or you order a burger or whatever, maybe it might be an extra minute or two, but it's not very much faster than just going, like if you go to Big Boys or something like that, or like a Culver's. Culver's I guess is fast food. But I'm trying to think of a restaurant now. The Arby's, no, that's fast food. Is Applebee's fast food? But that's what I mean. I guess that's what I mean. What's the difference between fast food and a restaurant? Just the drive-through window, mostly. That's kind of it. Restaurants and fast food is like the same thing now. We hardly have any diners. All the diners near me keep going out of business. I don't know exactly why. Poor management, I assume, but the economy's not great either, so 'tis what 'tis. Let's see. Is your name Gorgeous? Do I not know how to spell gorgeous? Yeah, I'll look up words in real time. I don't know. Can't figure out if your name is Georgius or Gorgeous. Either way, the whole stomach problem thing, I've looked into it. I've spent $6,800 or something to have the doctors figure it out and test me and poke me and prod me, and God only knows what else they've done to me over a 3-year period or something. They don't know what's wrong with me. There's just stuff wrong with me. Mark, yeah, you just missed the glitch. We're waiting for the press briefing, though. I'm trying not to just drag everything out, but the press briefing was supposed to start 15 minutes ago. So I'm just reading through the chat right now. We do have another video to cover, but I'm just kind of waiting for KJP to stumble her ass out on stage. Ghostly, the drive-thru takes 20 minutes now. I noticed that the drive-thru at Taco Bell takes forever. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if they're like busy breaking my tacos or spitting in it or what exactly they're doing, but I feel like the drive-thru at Taco Bell takes longer than anywhere else I go. Jeb, when you pay workers $15 to $18 an hour to make burgers, can't expect it to be cheap anymore. That's true. That's true. Everybody's making more money. I'm trying to think what McDonald's is advertising. I think McDonald's is advertising starting at 15 right now. When I went to Taco Bell last, they were advertising $16 an hour, and they will pay you that day. If you get hired in, they will pay you that day. If you will come to work today, you will leave with money in your pocket today, because they're hurting for workers so bad. Guess MJ, they're translating your order. I always order in Spanish, though. You guys thought I was gonna say something else, didn't you? No, you guys are wrong. Okay, you need a spanking. Get those thoughts out of your head. Breezy, I'm hungry. I'm hungry too. I'm sitting here starving to death. I've had 16 cups of coffee, for real. I'm like, just coffee in my guts. DCAT, doctors are like lawyers. They only want your money, and they never tell you anything worthwhile. It's true. And I'm so bitter about it that I don't go to the hospital or anything unless I'm like really broken. Like, it has to be like broken bone protruding through the skin or I ain't going. Because I treat them poorly. And I don't want to. I have lots of grace for people, but I've just been so burned out on doctors and their whole profession that I just don't have it in me. I'm just like disgusted by their appearance. They come in, they're like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, fuck you, man. You know, you got me sitting here 15 minutes. I try not to be that way, but I just can't stand them. They're just overglorified Googlers. I'm like, this is going on. They're like, well, according to Google. I'm like, I know what Google says. I Googled before I came here. When Google didn't give me a clear answer, I came to you. Now you're telling me what Google says. I know what Google says. Go to school for 10 years. Tell me what Google says. Eat shit. Can't stand doctors. Can't stand them. Astral Hammer, I went to Culver's in Hastings. Employees were so friendly, great experience, except that they only put a dollop of ice cream in my root beer float. I felt robbed. Their ice cream is so expensive. They have something called like a cement mixer or something along those lines, and it's really good, but it was like $15 or something like that. It's like so expensive. Their food is really good, but it is expensive. Me and WMM, we used to go there like once a week because we go and get groceries at the same time. That way we can watch each other's back while we're at Walmart. And we would go there, and just both of us eating would be like $40. Get a burger and some fries. It's like $40 right there. It's so good, though. Jeb, I like going to local pubs for burgers. It's been a long while since I've been to one. I do too. Bar food is so good. It's like ridiculously good. And it's usually affordable. Old BR, do you have Taco Casa where you live? I've never heard of that, but it could be in the area, but I haven't been to one. It's much better at Taco Bell unless you're plugged up and you need to go. What's funny is that Taco Bell and stuff like that doesn't affect me like that because of whatever's wrong with my stomach. So I can eat all the Taco Bell, I can eat all the hot sauce without turning my ass into a flamethrower. It doesn't do that to me. I don't know. It's weird like that. Guess MJ, I'm waiting on WebMD to send me a bill. Astral Hammer says, if you don't hit that like button, you ain't a hooligan. Hey, he said what he said. Said what he said. Kevin, I think I might get some fries with the works later. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, hooligans, you know, KJP, she's just taking up all of her time here, so I think we're going to run this next video, and then she's either going to step on stage, or we might just have to cover a highlight reel tomorrow of all of her downfalls. And we'll see. We'll see. What's up, Berserker? Happy freedom. What happened to you, Berserker? Is that spelled correctly? I'm gonna have to Google that. I can't say that out loud because I don't know what that word is. You guys always get me on that. You're like, hey, you ever heard this? And then I say it out loud, and YouTube's like, what'd you say? What'd you say? That kind of sounded like might be some hate speech, or maybe the name of a dog. I'm not sure. Probably hate speech though. No, there's got to be a typo there. I'm sure you didn't get integrated a couple days ago. Robert, I'll check it out after the live. Make sure you tag me in it, so I'll get the notification, so I'll remember to check it. And that they're small compared to what they used to be 15 years ago. Well, that's how those corporations are. Cut corners as much as they possibly can while still advertising full, robust burgers. It's not even beef. It's ex-employees. Anyways, we're going to move forward to this next video. KJP, she's just wasting my life over here, and there's only so much of it. This next video is titled Tesla Autopilot Under Scrutiny After Elon Mode is Discovered. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever have a self-driving vehicle. I don't want one. AVG constantly giving me stupid notifications. Alright, so this is talking about their autopilot mode and how people have hacked it to be able to get beyond the security stuff. I don't know what else to call it. Let's get it started.
Hit the market. Teslas have been filled with high-tech gadgets, driver assist aids. A couple of the main reasons the company has been the best-selling EV brand in the United States for the better part of a decade. They do have some cool bells and whistles. Well, now autopilot mode is drawing scrutiny of federal investigators. Dre Clark joins us live this morning with a Tesla and with more on those concerns. Hey, Dre.
Marquis, good morning. This is the Tesla Model 3, the company's least expensive model, but also its most popular here in the U.S. And one feature that all Tesla drivers love is that autopilot feature. Sensors around the car allows drivers to get inside, get behind the wheel, and once they actually get going, this car will actually drive itself. Those sensors will actually keep the vehicle centered on the highway, allow it to pass slower moving vehicles and slow down when necessary. But now there's a problem. Federal regulators want to ask Tesla how drivers know how to manipulate a safety feature here on the vehicle that allows them to use that autopilot feature longer.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration claims Tesla's autopilot feature has been responsible for 736 crashes and 17 deaths across the country since 2019, including this rear-end crash involving a Tesla Model 3 and a pickup truck that killed a teenager. In other instances,
she is out, sleeping completely.
Drivers have been seen asleep behind the wheel with the autopilot engaged. Auto industry experts say the autopilot feature is safe, but only if the driver is awake and paying attention to the road. Teslas have a built-in safety feature called the nag. If the driver leaves the steering wheel untouched for too long, the nag triggers a beeping noise. If the driver doesn't take the wheel, the system can automatically disable.
I think it's a great tool. I think that it's the way of the future, just like backup cameras.
But now the NHTSA wants to know about a hidden feature that allows drivers to go hands-free for a longer period of time. It's unofficially called Elon mode, named after company leader Elon Musk. It allows drivers to use autopilot without the nag alarm system alerting drivers to put their hands back on the wheel.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might be. It's possible, but I don't hear, about it that much.
A letter to Tesla from federal regulators in July said in part, NHTSA is concerned that this feature was introduced to consumer vehicles, and now that the existence of this feature is known to the public, more drivers may attempt to activate it. The resulting relaxation of controls designed to ensure that the driver remain engaged in the dynamic driving task could lead to greater driver inattention and failure of the driver to properly supervise autopilot. The agency also ordering Tesla to disclose exactly how many vehicles have received a software update allowing drivers to override the nag. In a return letter, Tesla answered questions and addressed concerns, but requested their responses be kept confidential.
Now, federal regulators have been looking into crashes involving Tesla and their autopilot feature since 2016. Meanwhile, auto industry experts say any vehicle that's equipped with an autopilot feature should not have a cheat code that allows drivers to override the system, because they say it's really putting lives at risk. They maintain if you cannot follow safety protocols, that feature should be outlawed or prohibited. One behind the scenes note, I'm 6'4", and although this car is pretty cool for a tall guy like me, I've been struggling all morning long getting in and getting out. I am glad I don't have to get in it anymore. Marquis, back to you.
You and me both are tall humans. It's good to see you in that rear view mirror. But of course, all these things, something to think about for people who are in the market, maybe for an EV and a Tesla. Dre, see you soon.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find.
I don't know about all that. I don't want to be in a self-driving car, let alone hacking it so I can go longer without holding onto the steering wheel. I don't really want any part of that. And then that idiot, he's like, I think it's the way of the future, like backup cameras. I've never even drove a car that has a backup camera. Like, I'm trying to think if my CD player in my 09 Subaru had a tape deck in it. I'm trying to figure it out, because I replaced the CD player so I could have Bluetooth. I've never even had a backup camera. I wouldn't trust the backup camera. I'd still be like twisting my head all around trying to see out the back of the car. I wouldn't trust that camera. I don't trust technology. I use it and abuse it the way God intended, okay? I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Guess MJ autopilot's called chapstick mode. Is that what it is? I don't know why they call it. I don't know. The whole autonomous vehicle thing. I don't think I could do it. Because people are so entitled and ignorant at the same time that they will cut you off, hit your car, and then be mad at you when you come to a stop. It'll be your fault that they did all that stuff. Now imagine if the car was autopilot. They'll absolutely say it was your fault. It's your reason their car hit you. I don't know. I can't do it. I can't stand people and I can't stand cars. I can't have the car drive itself. That's where I draw the line. I can't do it. Can't bring myself to do it. Ghostly backup cameras are amazing. I could see backup cameras being good if you're pulling a trailer or you're doing stuff like that. Maybe even you got a tight garage and you're trying to back the car in and you don't want to smack the wall. I mean, I could see its purposes, but as far as like just everyday use of using a backup camera, I'm still gonna try and look out the back of it. I'm just trying to spin my head all the way around to see. It's just, I don't know. DCAT, you went to trucking school, you would use your mirrors and not twist your neck. Yeah, I've never pulled a trailer or anything like that though. And I've almost clipped things using mirrors, like backing up and using mirrors in a tight parking lot and stuff, and I've almost hit stuff and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I gotta twist my head all the way around. That's why I gotta keep my weight down. If I gain too much weight, it's too hard to look around. All of a sudden I'm like, nope, can't back up the car. I'm too fat. I'm gonna have to walk until I lose enough weight to whip my head all the way around to look out the back window. I don't know. It's just the way it is. Just reading through the chat really quick. That is all the videos I had listed. We're waiting for KJP to step on stage. God only knows if that's still going to happen. I'm actually going to check the White House schedule and see if they changed it, because they do things like that. It's still scheduled for 2:30, which was a half hour ago. Let's see. I'm going to pull up maybe Fox News or something. Somebody that's at the press briefing, because a lot of times they'll have their cameras rolling so we can see what's going on in the room there before they give the 2-minute warning. Yeah, there we go. We're just gonna throw this on in the background. When things start getting lively and whatnot, we'll flip it out and we'll go full screen. We'll do it the right way. Matt, I very rarely use the backup camera. And both of our vehicles, and both of them have, both your cars have backup cameras, you don't use them. I've seen some really neat cameras where it has like a fisheye lens, so you can almost see like what's under your doors and stuff, like between your side wheels. I've seen some neat stuff, but I just still wouldn't trust it. Because as soon as I run into something, then I'm going to be like, shouldn't have been using the stupid camera. That's my fault. Shouldn't have been using technology. Should have been using my eyeballs. And I'm going to beat myself up probably forever. I'll be 80 years old. Be like, remember that one time? Ran over that chicken using the damn backup camera? Never let myself live that down. I think that's a part of being my own parent. I was growing up without a whole lot of supervision. So I'm really hard on myself. I never let anything go. I don't let nothing slide. I'm my own worst enemy. Hair juicer. I got used to the backup camera. Hopped in the race car and caught myself just staring at the dashboard while driving. See, and that's how I feel with all those computers in the center console that do Spotify, and it'll flip over and show your camera and do all that stuff. I feel like I'd be just sitting there screwing with the computer the whole time. Or I'd have problems. Hackers would be attacking me. They went after my music. I try not to talk about the whole cyber attack thing because it encourages them to come after me more, but I also have that urge to tell you guys because I want you guys to keep yourself safe. But they actually went after one of my accounts that controls my music, my copyright, my mechanical royalty intake, and all of that stuff. They were trying to take that from me, and they could have tried to even copyright my music as theirs. Luckily, the company that runs that stuff, we got that worked out earlier today. But for the last 24 hours, I've been sweating that and just not saying anything about it. Picture polywog, me too. I have a backup camera in the car and I just can't get use or trust it either. Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of a big deal if you get in a car accident. You don't know how that other person is going to react if you hit their car or, you know, something happens. Or even if you hit a mailbox or a pole, like maybe you're at an apartment complex, you back up, you hit the pole for the awning. You know, any form of car accident is always like a catastrophe. And the last thing you want to say is, oh, I was looking at the rear view camera, I didn't see you. Like, you don't, you know, it makes you seem so ignorant. In my opinion, I would feel like I look like a total dumbass. If I was sorry I hit your kid, I was looking at the rear view camera instead of using my eyeballs. I don't know. I'm biased. There we go. 2-minute warning. Guess MJ, Texas law, driver has to have insurance, so who is liable with autopilot? You are. There was a lot of discussion about that when autopilot first became a thing. Same thing in Michigan. You are legally required to have insurance in order to put your car on the road here, and it would be the same thing. Yeah, you get in a car accident with autopilot, you're still the one that started the car. It's your car. You're technically the only driver in the vehicle. It's your fault. Alright, they just kicked it over officially. Let me flip these screens. They gave us a 2-minute warning, but I think that they're going to be moving faster than that. Usually the White House doesn't flip their camera until it's 10 seconds before she walks out on stage here. Let's make sure we got the location up. We presume this isn't Washington, D.C. We're just, you know, this is an assumption here. Ugh. Got our OG hand signing lady. We'll see, is KJP... what's KJP going to wear? Type of color in the chat. You got seconds. What do you think? I'm thinking... Shit, what'd she wear yesterday? Red? I'm thinking green. She's going to come out in green today. Decap, when you going to cut another song, Jeff? probably sooner than later. Sooner than later. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. There will be new music coming out. I've been working on beats and stuff like that. And I haven't been rapping a lot because, you know, all the skin color controversy over the last couple of years. But that stuff's really died down, and I give less of a shit than I did back then. So we'll see. But you might have to get the music from me directly because it's going to be way too harsh for YouTube. You'll have to get it from the website. It'll probably still be on Spotify, I imagine. We'll see. We'll see. Look at everybody typing in the chat. Lots of red. See a purple. Astro Henry, you think she's going to come out in rainbow? She might. Oh, you were right. Red again. What a douchebag.
Good afternoon, everybody. Prostitute. Thank you for your patience today. As you saw, the president went to FEMA to thank the workers there and their hard work over not just this past couple of days, but these past several weeks. So thank you for your patience with all of us. I have a quick intro, and then we'll get going. As the president said earlier today, the entire administration is committed to supporting all the communities impacted by Idalia, and he has directed a whole of government response to ensure those impacted have everything they may need. Now, before I turn it over to Homeland Security Advisor Liz Sherwood-Randall, we want to make sure everyone who was impacted continues to listen to the guidance and direction of local officials and first responders. Do not put your lives at risk by attempting to traverse flooded or damaged areas. FEMA Administrator Criswell, as you all know, is in Florida to survey the damages firsthand and will continue to brief the president and the White House team. The administration will stand with the impacted communities every step of the way, as we have for the past 2 years, and as long as it takes. With that, Liz, thank you for coming back again. It's been too long.
She always brings guests so she don't have to do any talking. And now she's wearing all these V-necks, which make her look like she has less tits than she had before.
Weather that has impacted people across the country, and as you know, we're experiencing more of it every day. He has been receiving regular updates from Administrator Criswell and from me on the latest developments with...
Is that Cruella de Vil?
And also, of course, with the ongoing recovery operations in Hawaii on the island of Maui. He continues to guide the response to both, to the devastating fires on Maui, as well as to the remnants of Idalia, now that it has moved off the coast of North Carolina. He and Deanne Criswell have been talking daily. He spoke to her this morning before he went over to FEMA headquarters. He's also been in regular contact with Governor DeSantis. He spoke to the governor twice today. Spoke to him yesterday as well to check on the circumstances on the ground. And today, when he reached him this morning, let him know that he was approving the governor's overnight request for a major disaster declaration. He also talked yesterday to Governor Kemp, Governor McMaster, and Governor Cooper, and committed the federal government's support to each of those states as they responded to and recovered from what we at the time did not know would be, relative to some of the early predictions from the National Hurricane Center, a consequential but not a catastrophic hurricane in those states. Yesterday, he also convened key cabinet members who are leading the federal recovery and rebuilding efforts on Maui, and asked them to report to him on their progress that is essential to supporting the people of Maui. He has directed us to do everything that we can to accelerate recovery wherever people are impacted by extreme weather, whether it is in Maui, Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, or any of the other communities that have been impacted by extreme weather events since the beginning of his administration. He's particularly focused whenever we talk about these events on the lives that are torn apart and how we can help people get back on their feet as quickly as possible. For example, yesterday when we were briefing him with respect to Maui, he was very focused on the opening of the school year and how the kids of Lahaina don't necessarily have schools they'll be able to attend, and what can we do using federal resources from the Department of Education to support the local community and finding a way for kids to get back to school this fall. I also want to thank the brave first responders, the Coast Guard, the search and rescue teams, the local law enforcement personnel, and so many others who in a moment like yesterday run toward danger. They're the ones we pre-deploy, the search and rescue teams, the Coast Guard. They're out there under extremely dangerous circumstances, taking personal risk to make it possible to save lives. I was talking to Admiral Poulin, the deputy of the Coast Guard, when we were over at FEMA just now about the Jayhawk helicopters that fly when a hurricane is still happening in order to be able to rescue people who may need their assistance. So as you've heard, the president did just visit FEMA. The reason he went over there was principally to thank the personnel there on the floor of the National Response Coordination Center who work 24/7 to make sure that we're capable of responding to whatever is happening across the country. He walked the floor and thanked people for what they're doing. It's incredibly important that we acknowledge this work because these are really the unsung heroes, the FEMA folks, both here in the headquarters and also those who are out in the field all around the country helping Americans. He has directed us to ensure that we have a fully coordinated whole of government effort to support people in the aftermath of this storm. At his direction, Administrator Criswell flew down to Florida yesterday just as soon as she had completed briefing him both on what was happening in Florida and then during the meeting that he convened on Maui. And she is joining Governor DeSantis today conducting the initial damage assessments in the state. As the president just announced when he was over at FEMA, he will fly to Florida on Saturday to visit the areas most impacted by the hurricane. There are currently approximately 1,500 federal responders on the ground in Florida. This includes over 500 urban search and rescue personnel who were there ready to save lives and help people get to safety. One of the decisions we took early on was to pre-deploy personnel. That's something we do regularly to make sure that we've got what it takes in a disaster rather than wait until it happens and then be late to need. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was pre-positioned before the storm to support power restoration. It brought in more than 30 large generators that are pre-staged if needed to support critical infrastructure assets in particular, like hospitals or water treatment plants. There's also a great deal of work that goes on behind the scenes to ensure that the electric grid can be maintained for people to have access to power after a storm. One of the benefits to the citizens of Florida is that during the Obama-Biden administration, we spent more than $200 million on hardening the grid in Florida by putting in stronger power poles and smart meters on those power poles, something the president referenced yesterday, which has enabled Florida to recover much more quickly from a series of extreme weather events that they face. I want to also acknowledge the pre-positioning of critical supplies, including more than 1.3 million meals and 1.6 million liters of water in the region in case that's necessary. It may not all be necessary, but again, we want to be ready. The Red Cross is our critical partner in much of this work. They pre-position personnel and resources to support sheltering for up to 20,000 survivors. That may not be necessary, but we know that there are thousands of people who are in shelters as of this morning. The evacuation orders have been lifted in most places in Florida, and so people may be able to go back to their homes. We also have approved through USDA early issuance of September SNAP benefits to all households that receive those benefits. We will be with the citizens of these impacted states as long as it takes. We know that there is some very heavy rain in North Carolina today, lowland flooding. We've asked people to be sure to pay attention to what their local officials are telling them about where it is safe to move, because often people think the hurricane has passed, but that doesn't mean that all of the storm surge and flooding is over. We won't know the full extent of the damage done for several days. The assessment teams are out in Florida today, as I mentioned. What we do know is that we will stay there as long as it takes to help in partnership with our state and local counterparts to get people back on their feet. Now I'm glad to take a few questions.
Can you say a few words about the state of the U.S. electrical grid? The outages that we saw with Adelia raised concerns about that. I mean, have you done an assessment? Do you know what percentage of the electrical grid is in need of upgrades, and how serious of a threat is that? How concerned should Americans be?
So we are investing an enormous amount in grid resilience through a number of pieces of legislation that the president has passed. Just this week, from the infrastructure law, the bipartisan infrastructure law, the president announced $95 million to assist the state of Hawaii in hardening its grid and making the grid more resilient to the effects of extreme weather and also potentially other threats. And that's the kind of work that has to take place all across the country. We're looking to invest from similar funds in other states, working in partnership with the private sector to make sure that we do modernize a grid in a way that both employs clean sources of energy and enables us to sustain power for the American people under all hazards conditions. Now, it's inevitable that there will be outages, and indeed sometimes it's preferable that a utility takes the power off certain parts of the grid in order to prevent fires. And that's a decision that's made by state and local utilities. It's not something we would decide at the federal level, but it's a way of managing for the possibility that you could have a circumstance in which it would be preferable not to have power on the line, for example, in a circumstance in which you're concerned about the spread of fire in a community. So this is an ongoing effort which the president is driving from the White House in conjunction with the Secretary of Energy and other agencies to ensure that we have the grid of the future that we need, both to power a clean energy future and also to provide resilient power to the American people.
But can you say how much of the grid is in danger, or is at risk, or antiquated?
I think we should go on to others. Thanks.
Thank you. President Biden said today that he will be visiting Florida on Saturday. He said that
That's enough out of you over there.
to Governor DeSantis at this point based on how much they've been speaking. Should we expect the president to be meeting
That person looks like she just got out of the mental hospital.
some of the hard-hit areas together?
We're just planning the visit, but I will say that every time I've been to Florida with the president, he has met, of course, with Governor DeSantis and traveled the disaster zone, whether it's from last year's hurricane or when the Surfside condominium building collapsed. Often they'll meet, have a briefing from the emergency responders. It can be in the open, as it was from the hurricane last year. It could be in a briefing room, as it was at Surfside. They are very collegial when we have the work to do together of helping Americans in need, citizens of Florida in need.
And you mentioned what the federal government is doing in response to Hurricane Idalia and the assistance that's being provided to some of these states, but NOAA has predicted above normal hurricane activity for the duration of this hurricane season. So I'm wondering what other actions are being taken proactively to prepare for that.
Well, I'll tell you that one of the things we're doing proactively is that we have submitted to Congress a supplemental request that would replenish the Disaster Relief Fund, because that fund has been depleted. We have requested $12 billion.
Well, if you guys have stopped causing all these disasters.
FEMA to be there if they are experiencing a disaster. And we want to be sure that we can fund that support that these communities will need, whether it's hurricanes or wildfires. We have an extremely intense wildfire situation in a number of southwestern states right now. And in each of those communities, the expectation is the federal government will come in support of state and local partners to help people.
All right, last question, Selena. What are the biggest concerns on the ground at the moment? And is there any more clarity on just how long that road to recovery will be for those hardest hit areas?
So we're just getting the initial assessments. The president heard from Deanne Criswell when she briefed him on the telephone before we went to FEMA that the greatest concern right now is flooding and the impact on people's homes and businesses of that flooding. It currently doesn't look from aerial surveillance as if there has been widespread destruction of many buildings. Some homes have been harmed, some businesses have been harmed, but principally it looks like it's about flooding in areas that are low-lying, where there was storm surge in that bend in Florida, the Big Bend in Florida. And so that will likely be the area in which we have to invest the most in recovery.
All right, Liz, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
That's the area they targeted the most.
All right, just a couple things at the top, and then we'll get started.
Prostitute.
So, as you all know, in March, President Biden signed an executive order directing the Attorney General to move as close to universal background checks as possible within existing law. Today, as a result of that executive order that the President signed, and also the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, that the Department of Justice is taking life-saving action to reduce the number of guns sold without background checks and keep guns out of the hands of criminals. Now, this action that a majority of Americans want to see, a majority of gun owners also want, and it's just common sense. It's just common sense. Because we know that background checks are one of the best tools we have to keep dangerous weapons out of the hands of criminals. This administration respects the right of responsible gun owners while also believing Americans have the right to live free from gun violence as well. Those two things can exist. The president will continue to call on Congress to build upon this step and pass universal background checks legislation, as well as other common sense legislation to save lives. And this administration will continue to do everything it can to combat the epidemic of gun violence that is tearing up our families, our communities, and also our country apart. Now, President Biden, as you all know, if you heard the back and forth, the Q&A that he was able to take at FEMA, that this week he also announced Overdose Awareness Week to focus the nation's attention on the devastation caused by the illicit fentanyl and other illicit drugs, and recognize the people.
Just close the border. That's all you gotta do. Close the border. Don't let them just wander over here.
This is an issue that affects red states and blue states, and it's a key pillar of President Biden's unity agenda. That's why today the White House announced more than $450 million in new funding to strengthen treatment for addiction and disrupt drug trafficking. The second gentleman and the Director of Drug Policy Officer, Dr. Gupta, also hosted family members across the country here at the White House today who have lost loved ones due to drug overdose. Now, the reality is that far too many Americans have
Is that how the drugs got in the White House?
epidemic every day, and especially today. We want you to know we see you, we grieve with you, and this administration is committed to ensuring that our nation has the resources we need to beat this crisis. And today, as you all saw from the PCE report came out, it showed that further evidence that inflation is easing, with monthly inflation at 0.2%, the same rate as last month.
What is that chart? Come on, man.
Understand trends as the chart.
KJP drew that chart herself.
PCE inflation averaged about 2.1%, in line with the pre-pandemic trend that we saw. And
they just based that line off the silhouette of the turd that old man Walter dropped last
years. Now, our economy and labor market remain strong. Yesterday, we learned the economy grew faster than 2% last quarter. And we'll get an update in tomorrow's jobs report. As you all know, I know some of you track that very closely, but we know unemployment has been near historic lows and below 4%.
Because it doesn't pay enough. People got to go to work just to not have money now.
William, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks. I have two questions. On disaster relief funding, does the president think that $12 billion is going to be enough, or is it possible that we'll go back and have to ask Congress for more?
So look, $12 billion is, as you know, is what this is in the supplemental fund, supplemental request, Criswell, the administrator, has been here for the past several days. I think today is the only day that she hasn't been here, and so she explained the reasoning behind the $12 billion. It is incredibly important. I do want to make very clear that FEMA will continue to do its job and continue to do the incredible work that they have been doing, dealing with extreme weather, dealing with these kind of disastrous storms that we've been seeing. But it's important, we think, and we believe that it's important for Congress to do its job and to really move forward with the supplemental request. Look, that is something that FEMA certainly asked for and requested, and we believe that this is needed. You heard directly from the president when he was asked about this just moments ago, and so I will leave it there. I'm not going to get ahead of the request that is currently in front of Congress at this time. What's your second question?
Well, picking up with that, the White House also asked Congress today for a short-term funding resolution.
Is that CCP right there?
Not just for natural disaster response, but on social programs like WIC.
So it's what we asked for today is basically anomalies. That's what they call. They're called CR anomalies. Just to be very clear